All right, let's start today's session. So, hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of Radio Unplugged. It's a WRTH live series. I'm Sakshi Srivastava. I'm the marketing manager for WRTH, and I'll be your host for today's session. If this is your first time joining us, Radio Unplugged is where we bring together the brightest, most passionate voices and behind the scenes legends from the world of radio, live, unfiltered, and unplugged. Today's session is extra special. We're heading to the South America with someone who's not just a listener, but a lifelong DX explorer. Please join me in welcoming our guest today, Ivan Diaz, a long-time DXer, contributor to the WRTH, and an FM list editor for Brazil. With over 135 countries logged, he brings a treasure trove of insight and experiences to this conversation. We also have Gunter Lawrence, CEO for WRTH, to continue this interesting and insightful discussion with Ivan today. So, Gunter, I hand over the discussion to you.
Thank you, Sakshi, for the introduction. Thank you, Ivan, for being our guest speaker today. It's a pleasure. And thanks for everyone who joined from all over the globe to listen to us. And if I remember correctly, there will also be some time to ask questions for everyone who is participating. Now, Ivan, what is it about starting DXing in a place like Brazil? Not in the middle of Europe where I started, where the bands are crowded and where you could perhaps have more stations on FM and on medium wave. What is it like, and how did you start?
Well, first of all, I would like to thank you for everyone to be here with us. Uh, it's very good to share something about DXing in South America with such a wide audience. And well, for FM DXing, uh, in some places, I don't think it's so difficult because Brazil is a very huge country, uh, and in some regions you don't have so much stations, and then it's not so difficult to do some DX. Where I live, unfortunately, I am about 100 kilometers from São Paulo, which is the biggest metro area in my country. Then probably you know that there are a lot of stations and the band is really crowded. Uh, then it's really difficult to have or find free channels for the DXing, or when the DXing it's possible, you will probably have a huge opening too. Then at least for me, it's not so easy for FM. For medium wave or even shortwave DXing, all I can say is that unfortunately where I live, I have a lot of noise. It's really difficult, and that's why I rely almost everything I do between 0 and 30 megahertz. Everything I do is during the X camps. Uh, um, I'm limited to at least on AM to local stations. Well, talking a little about the situation I find here in South America when on the X camps. Uh, the band, the AM band continues really crowded thanks to Argentinian stations. You have a lot of Radio Nacional on a lot of channels, sometimes even 2 or 3 stations, 3 Radio Nacional stations uh, in just one channel. It's not easy to DX, but with good antennas, the situation can be really interesting.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah. We know about the noise problem. It's become a global issue, and having the chance to going out to the X camp is definitely something very valuable and very interesting. You told us before you confirmed over 135 countries, which is quite a lot. And because there's plenty of countries which are not active anymore, so it's impossible to catch them because you started DXing in the 90s. Which of these verifications or receptions? What's the best one? Which one do you really appreciate and like?
Okay, I think that for someone who started DXing during the 90s, uh, 135 countries confirmed, it's a good number. It's a good number. Probably if I started during the 80s or even 70s, my number would be above 200 countries. Um, well, for me, I will mention two stations, one on shortwave and two of the both of them are on shortwave bands, but one is an utility station and the other was a broadcast station. Well, the broadcast station was for me one of the most important for me was Radio Imperial from El Salvador. Uh, it it was on in the air during a short period of time, during around 2000 or 2000 and 2005, more or less. I don't remember exactly. Um, it was in the air on the 16-meter band. It was a low power station, a religious one, and I tried so many times because I knew that it would be the only and one opportunity to log and confirm uh, this country. Um, the reception was a short one for no more than 15 minutes, and the station disappeared. I sent a registered letter to El Salvador because I knew that it was a difficult country to send letters. It could be lost, or even the answer could be lost. And for me, it was a very special one. Now talking about utility DXing. Uh, it is it was a station I confirmed around 2 years ago. It was even more special for me. It was Nuku'alofa radio. It is a coast station on 6312 kilohertz. I heard during the morning here in Brazil, the night in Tonga, and when I heard, I I feel it was something incredible because uh, for DXers, the most common station heard is A3A, a medium wave station from this country, and yeah, probably it was the first time someone heard an utility station from this country, at least during the last 10 or even more years. Then I started a journey to find information about how to contact this station. I sent some messages to even ham radio operators in Tonga, and don't find it. I did not find I did not found information about the station. Then someday I tried to find information about the meteorological administration from Tonga with and I found the name of the guy who is the the administrator, uh, and I sent a message on his Facebook. I found him on Facebook, and I sent him a message, and he answered, and he was really uh, he did not even have words to express how he felt about this kind of contact, and me too, because probably you don't know the name of the National Weather Administration of your country, and and I found this guy from Tonga, and I was thinking about that probably this guy is somebody who you will meet on supermarket, for example. And then he sent a very nice letter to me, and it's a difficult DX. It's a difficult DX for me. I heard just once this station, and uh, and the situation involved at all.
Wow, that's really a detective story. And I guess that's also the difference, because when you listen to broadcast radio stations, they will always announce their address and their contact details, because they want listeners to write and to get in touch. But with utility radio stations, some of them they are just it's a job for them. They have to do communication, and they cannot even imagine that they are heard so far outside their coverage areas, because Tonga is far away from where you have been listening. So very great catch. Which brings me to the next question. I mean, you started. It seems you started DXing more on the broadcast side, and then also moved into utility and into FM. What is the challenge of utility DXing for you, or what's the what's the challenge?
Well, uh, for me, it's the information side. It's not something easy to find. Uh, we unfortunately we don't have an WRTH book for utility DXing. I know that there are books around about this about utility DXing, but it's not even far from the quality found on WRTH. And then the information side, it's very difficult. There are some groups, email groups, and Facebook groups about utility DXing that can be help a lot with information about frequencies, about stations, but sometimes you keep with something that probably you will never identify. I have so many situations like that, unfortunately. Uh, and when you talk about utility DXing, you talk about a lot of stations that are transmitting on digital modes. It's not something so easy. Uh, Sometimes there are a lot of digital modes that you can't even decode with um, commercial decoding softwares like multi-PSK. So it's not so easy. It's not so easy, but for me, it's really rewarding.
Mhm. Okay. Uh, what kind of equipment are you using at home, and what are you using when you're going on the expedition?
It's almost the same. To be used at home, I have an ELAD FDM S3.
Mhm.
I am I am a huge fan of ELAD SDRs. Uh, I have an S2 too. Um, for, the ELAD S3 is in use for FM because you can record the almost 20 megahertz, um, and the corner 15 element
Oh,
antenna.
wow.
Uh, it's what I use at home. And for the XCamp use, I rely on the ELAD S3 too, uh, and Wellbrook antenna, or even beverage antennas when needed. For example, when I went to Argentina uh, during the last 2 years, I relied on the Wellbrook for shortwave DXing, and the beverage antenna for medium wave DX. I during the next week I will be going to Porto Alegre in Rio Grande do Sul stage for and I will be using all of these receivers, these antennas and receiver, and I will try to record the FM band during the trip between São Paulo and Porto Alegre.
Okay. Well, the ELAT devices, they are wonderful. I mean, we all know the Perseus, which is made by Nico Palermo. And then, of course, he was involved in other generations. And ELAT and Perseus, they are kind of brother and sister. So they are really wonderful devices. And now I've also been using the Wellbrook antenna. It's very nice, very nicely portable. It doesn't require any special setup. You just put it somewhere around and you can start DXing and you can turn it and eliminate some interference. When you've attended and helped organized a couple of DX camps across South America, what's special about these camps? Do you have a lot of talk and bonfire and meeting people, or is it not sleeping all the nights and trying everyone to make the best catch? What is it like?
Well, it's something wonderful because as I said in the beginning, uh, I live in a really noisy environment. Then shortwave and medium wave band DXing, it's almost impossible. Uh, and that's the first reason why I attend those DX camps. Uh, find places where the noise situation is lower or even absent. For example, in Rio Grande do Sul, where we are going during the next week, uh, the noise is almost zero. You have noise from the notebook power supply, for example. Uh, it's a farm with a lot of space for antennas, and that's the first reason I find really important to go to DX camps. And now and when we have the human side about these events, uh, you find people of the same species.
That's nice. Yeah.
And it's good to meet these people and talk with them. It's a good opportunity to meet new friends, learn something. For me, when you are attending on a DX camp, you will always learn something interesting about your hobby, and leave something too, of course. For me, it's something I need to do at least uh, once a year. This year, I will join other DX friends during November in Piauí State, in the north of Brazil, in the northeast of Brazil, and probably something in December. I don't know.
Okay. Well, great plans, and I understand. I think it's if you once had this experience of this non-existing noise, I think that's fantastic. And this is if somebody would have had the equipment that we have today, kind of 50 or 60 or even 70 years
Mm.
ago, oh, how much fun would that have been? Because yeah, this is really a wonderful experience having an empty band and digging out the weak signals from all over the globe. Now let's quickly talk about signals from Brazil. Many DXers from outside Brazil or from Europe or from North America, we know the famous Brazilian stations in the tropical band, in the shortwave band. Can you tell us a little bit about how important are they for Brazilians? And is there anything special to know about Brazilian stations on shortwave today?
Uh, the the shortwave uh, here in Brazil, as you know, changed a lot of stations uh, simply disappeared or migrate to or rely today on AM or FM. Everything changed a lot. During the last years, some stations uh, even came back to shortwave. For example, here in my city, Radio Cacique, who broadcast during just a few weeks on the 120 meter band, uh, just to have just to keep uh, an FM channel to be migrated. Uh, then everything changed a lot. There are not so many stations on shortwave nowadays here in Brazil. Uh, uh, the most important station, I'm sure, is Radio Nacional da Amazônia, uh, that can be heard in all over South America. I'm sure of that. But it's this station is beamed to the north of Brazil. As you probably know, during this month, this station started a program of 10 minutes in English and Spanish, and it's important because I think that this station can be heard all over the world. I received a message a few months ago from a friend who lives in Macau, China, and Radio Nacional can be heard there
Oh,
on shortwave with just a telescopic whip antenna. And for me, it's important because it's a way to show more about our country to audience abroad.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember the famous stations, most of them in the 25-meter band or 31-meter band. I'm pronouncing it incorrectly, but I remember Radio Bandeirantes and a couple of them, and they were always nice listening if it was football or if it was music or if it was even the news broadcast. I was to Brazil with all these reporters bringing in news from everywhere. So it has a special flair listening to Brazilian radio stations. And I also remember that in the 60-meter band, in the tropical band, there's one frequency, if I'm not wrong, it's 4885. There were two stations from Brazil on the same frequency. And it was not always so easy to understand which one you caught. And I never understood why they put two stations on the same frequency, because the band was almost empty. They could easily have done in a different way, but it was always quite exciting to listen, and it's good to hear that still some stations are active and put out Brazilians' voice to the world. Now you have been go ahead.
The 4885 stations were o Rádio Clube do Pará and Rádio Difusora Acreana. It was really difficult for me. I heard Difusora was the most difficult one for me. I heard just once or twice.
Okay. Almost final question. You've been a contributor to WRTH for many years. Why did you do it? And what do you think is the role of WRTH for the worldwide DXing community?
I think that information must be shared, and the information about radio stations, it's not always something easy to find. And for me, WRTH is really important to. It's a really important hub of information, and that's why I think it's important to share information, or mainly today, mainly on internet. And as I said, WRTH, at least for me, it's a hub of information we can rely on, and I hope we can count on this kind of book for years to come, because on internet the information is not always up to date or even correct. That's what I think.
Yeah, I fully agree. That's what we want to be. We want to be an information hub for everyone interested in radio, for the DXing community, for ham radio operators, for whoever is interested in radio. Thank you so much, Ivan. Exciting talking to you. I think we are all curious to read more and hear more from one of your expeditions. So we will be in touch on how we can get our ears and our hands on what you're doing there in the southern part of Brazil. Thank you so much, and I'm handing back to Sakshi for a round of questions, if there are any.
Thank you so much. This was very insightful. We do have some questions we picked up from Facebook. So the first question is, has the DXing in Brazil evolved over decades? What are the biggest changes you've noticed from gear to community culture?
First of all, in my opinion, I did not even think the community was so huge. You can find easily Facebook groups with 3,000, 10,000 people.
Oh.
For example, during the past, I was a member of the X Club here in Brazil, and we did not even have more than 250 members. It's a huge difference between 250 and 10,000 people, and everything changed a lot here in Brazil, related with access to receivers. For example, during the 80s and 90s, it was really difficult to buy a receiver uh, uh, with digital readout like the Sony. It was really difficult and expensive. Nowadays, you can find a good receiver and buy with uh, under good prices and after just a few clicks uh, on some websites or apps. And then I think everything changed a lot. We are living in a social media world. When I started, I relied on telephone calls that um, were not so cheap, uh, or letters that could that I would need to wait for weeks or even a month to be answered. Now everything can be answered in just a few minutes.
Thank you so much for answering that. We have another question. Have you ever received FM stations via TEP, trans-equatorial propagation? And if so, how often and from which countries?
Good. Uh, well, I have some experience in trans-equatorial propagation. Uh, there are some places between São Paulo and the south of Brazil that are really good for this kind of DXing. Uh, in 2011, I went to the border between São Paulo and Paraná states, and for me it was the most interesting time I had in this kind of DXing. I received stations for Barbados from the Caribbean, of course, from Barbados, Haiti, Dominica, Martinica, um, St. Kitts, Puerto Rico, etc., etc. There are a few more countries, but I don't remember now.
It's really interesting. We have one more question. For someone just starting out DXing in 2025, what's your best advice and any common beginner mistakes to avoid?
First of all, have fun. Have fun. Uh, there are a lot of stations to be received, probably more than the time you will have. And then for me, first of all, have fun. Um, there and there are a lot of information you can find on internet. It's all it's it's easier to find information than when I started, when I relied on telephone calls or letters. Uh, search a lot, uh, watch videos, ask questions if you have them. Um, Always read with patience, and be patient because DXing it's patience. You need patience sometimes to identify a station, uh, to ask questions or find information on internet, and for me, that's what I would say for someone who would start today.
I think that is some brilliant advice. Thank you so much for sharing. And thank you again for such an insightful conversation. It's clear your passion and knowledge have inspired so many DXers, both in Brazil and beyond. And to everyone who joined us today, thank you for being a part of Radio Unplugged. If you enjoyed today's session, make sure to follow our updates for future episodes. We've got so many more exciting guests and stories lined up. And don't forget to check out our latest products, including WRTH 2025 printed book, ebook, web app, and the brand new WRTH merchandise. You can find all the information about it on our website, www.wrth.info. If you missed any part of today's brilliant discussion, a full recording of it will be shared on our YouTube channel very soon. Thank you again and see you next time on Radio Unplugged. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you all. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you.